to the body of the dead. Ointments are only applied in an attempt to either mitigate the suffering or to heal the wounds. There is no other purpose. And it served both these purposes. It mitigated the suffering as well as healed his wounds. So the Jesus we see walking out of the sepulchre is not a ghost, because it is what he himself claims. As he appears before his disciples and surprises them by his presence as a living form, because it was said he gave up his ghost. They must have heard it and taken it too seriously. So they thought he was a ghost. But Jesus said, no, I am not a ghost. So it gives lie to the impression of a viewer that he gave up the ghost. He never admitted it. He said, come here. Come and touch my wounds. Here, there, my hands. And see, I am the same person in the same body. I was crucified. And I am alive here before you. This was a 100% open and shut case of a person who had been attempted to be murdered, but his enemies failed to achieve the purpose, who almost died but did not, and survived the attempts at his life. Now, when you read this in relation to a prophecy of Jesus Christ, then the whole picture emerges as clear as day. When they demanded, some of them, of the Jewish people or other opponents, there are so many people belonging to different religions and beliefs, who all opposed Jesus together as a body. There were non-believers, there were people who believed in myths and ideologies other than the Jewish ideology. They always gathered around him and put him to many tests and questions. At one moment, and at one occasion, when they required from him a great miracle, so they could see with their own eyes that he was from God. I don't remember the exact words, but he said, the people of this age were this and that. They demand a miracle, but no miracle will be shown unto them except the miracle of Jonah of the fish. Now, what was that miracle? Was it a case of revival, or was it a case of survival against all odds? Most certainly. There are no two opinions about this. That Jonah presented a case of survival against all odds, not a case of revival from the dead. So as I'm reconstructing the events of crucifixion and what happened following, when you remember this prophecy of Jesus Christ, then the case is cleansed. It's a very clear case of a true prophet who was true, and God had saved him. And then, after such attempts, when Allah saves his prophets and dear ones, they're always told to migrate. So Jesus did. Now, this is the last part by which, last part of an integral part of the Christian beliefs, by which they attempt to prove Jesus' status to be beyond all other prophets. They died natural deaths here on earth, but he disappeared into heaven, bodily. Now, why the necessity of such a belief? There's some reasons, and valid reasons for that. First of all, if they claimed that he had not died, or he had died and again became alive after death, then the first demand which would be made upon them would be, ask him to appear before us then. if he did not die, then his body has become eternal, immortal, whatever form it is. Because once somebody survives death or survives death, comes to life again, then he can't be killed again, by no means. So the first logical question which should have been addressed to them, and they were confronted with, was, all right, let Jesus appear before us. So he did not appear. The second, if not, where has he gone? Where is his body? Why has he disappeared altogether? Is he hiding? And if he's hiding, why don't you produce him? Or the law will deal with you. If you're hiding the body of a criminal, dead or alive, he must be presented to prove that he ultimately got killed according to the purpose of the law. But these two demands could not be met by them. So this concept of ascension to heaven was born naturally out of this dilemma. Now previously, some Christian scholars used to quote Mark, I think it was Mark, where in the last 12 verses it was said that Jesus ascended to the heaven. But now all the Christian scholars have agreed unanimously that these 12 verses where this is mentioned are false. They are not found in the original text at all. They were added later on. So there is no single proof of Jesus' ascension. But some excuse had to be discovered, had to be invented to prove that he lived. But why is he not visible? Because he has gone somewhere. So they did not want to disclose the identity of his migration. So they said he had ascended to heaven to further prove the point that he was not immortal, but he was literally the Son of God. This is the dilemma of Christianity which helped St. Paul to legendize the fact of crucifixion and to mythify the noble reality of Jesus Christ. And because Roman Empire was already a most fertile recipient soil for such philosophies, because they themselves had believed in Trinity before. They themselves had believed for centuries in mythologies and God, humans taking forms of God, descending from heaven or ascending to heaven, but humans taking forms of God, or God taking form of humans. So this was no alien philosophy to them. And that is why they accepted it in large numbers. And it was there that St. Paul struck the bonanza for Christianity. So these, I feel, are the reasons why the Christians have to believe in this mythified form of Jesus Christ, while I believe it would be far greater loyalty to Jesus if they stuck to his reality, which is far more noble. Myths are not noble. They're imaginary things. With powers, myths live with powers which are not shared by human beings. So what are we to them? What are they to us? But a person, being a human being, being immortal, reaches such heights of great sacrifice and perfect example as Jesus did. That is the noble image which is worthy of all love. So we are not an opponent of Christianity. We are the true lover of Jesus Christ, and we invite Christians to look at that great hero in religious history from our eyes and revere him the more and love him the more, not at the cost of unity of God, but in perfect agreement with the unity of God. Have I answered your question? Thank you.